Hey everybody, it is Calxiyn here. If you guys enjoyed this video, remember to subscribe for more Miraculous Ladybug videos. Welcome to my reaction highlight and discussion video. So basically what we're going to do is I'm going to show you some highlights from my reaction to Mr. Pigeon, and then afterwards we'll have a little bit of a discussion together. So if you guys are cool with that, why don't we just get into it? Let's go. Ooh, Alya's there! Okay, so far Alya remembers everything. Okay. Oh, this is so cool that Alya's helping her too. Oh, I love this chart that she made. It reminds me of like Adrienne's schedule, but like serious for serious things. Marinette's parents must be like, what is happening? Oh my gosh. Oh, Alya. Alya's like, sis, you need a break, bro. Yep. Sometimes you just gotta walk away and go back to it later. Exactly, exactly. Oh, Alya! Alya's hitting it where it hurts, just like Hanma. You know what I mean? She's applying the pressure. Oh, and see, she likes Kagami so much. Oh, she wants to console her girlfriend because it's gals before pals. Oh. Oh, Marinette, that's so sweet. That she's concerned about Kagami's feelings. Oh my god. I'm gonna cry. Oh, that's so nice of Alya too. Oh, look at these loving parents that just give their daughter a basket of croissants. I love that. Oh, let's go console Kagami. Oh. Look at them! Why are they so cute? Kagami's just like, oh, what is happening? Damn, Kagami's like, nah. Why is this episode so good? Why is this episode so funny? Oh my god. Oh man. Oh, Marinette's using the Adrienne fans against them. I love this. Ooh, nice. Good didn't feel as strongly for Adrienne as Marinette does. Oh, the umbrella! Oh. And, oh, this is so, like, emotional. Oh, look at how cute they are! Oh! Wow! Marinette just asked him to walk home with her? Okay! Good job, Marinette! Even if he can't. My theory about Adrienne. That was still nice, though. That she actually was able to. Oh, look, now he's being clumsy. Could he be falling for Marinette? Okay. This was a really good episode. Yeah, see, she at least asked him this time and he wanted to. Yeah! Good job, Marinette! Yay! Oh, what a good episode. Alright, everybody, let us get into the discussion now. Now, this episode, I think, was, like, super well written. Like, it was just funny. Like, the jokes were on point, but there's also some, like, theorizing and discussion stuff going on. Obviously, we have Alya to talk about. I made a theory a couple days ago basically saying, I don't think that they're going to rewrite Alya's memory, and here's why. And so it seems like the show is actually going with that, so if you guys didn't see that, you guys should watch it, because I basically outlined all my points as to why Alya should remember, and now she's remembering. And I actually mentioned my theory for this episode, which was that Alya would basically help Marinette find the new transformation, and that happened too, so I feel very good about that. But there's also some stuff with Adrienne, and if Adrienne is starting to fall for Marinette, and so let's talk about it. So we start here with them seeming to decode the Guardian book, and I feel like what was happening is that they were like, okay, well before they had like little potions basically, and they put the potions inside of the cheese for Plag, and then the sweets for Tiki, right? And so I feel like that they were basically trying to kind of recreate that again, and that's why they have like the pot and everything. But at the end of this episode, we obviously see like, no, Marinette, like this creation comes from within, which I thought was really, really nice. But I think that's basically what they're trying to do in this scene, is they're basically trying to cook up a potion similar to what they were doing previously last season, or was it the season before when they found that out? I don't remember. Anyway, and so we have the Kwamis playing around right here, which is always nice to see like what they're doing as well. I think that that's really cool. And so Marinette's saying, but can you imagine if I could stop Shadow Moth? So she's like, hey, like Ladybug has cool powers and stuff, but what if I could stop Hawkmoth, or I guess Shadow Moth as we're calling him now? And so that's a central like theme of this episode in a way, is that like Ladybug's like, damn, like I wish I wasn't just Ladybug, I wish I could stop Hawkmoth too. And then Alya comes in like, well actually you can, like the power comes from you. And I think that that is just really, really sweet. It would be less of a show off, right? And so did you notice that he reakumatizes more and more people? Why is that? Because he knows them and he knows how to press where it hurts. And so basically what Marinette is saying is that the whole reason why Shadow Moth continues to reakumatize people is because he knows how he can like get into their head and convince them to do things. And so that's his greatest strength, is manipulating people when you really think about it. Yes, I've been akumatized 4 times as Lady Wi-Fi because you were hiding something from me and it was driving me crazy. And so Alya is basically explaining like the root of the akumatization, right? With Alya, it's secrets. With Chloe, I think that it's invalidation. And I think that we'll talk about this a little bit more. I made a theory, but I don't know if I'll have time to post it. But I basically made a theory about like Chloe and Zoe and everything. And so like, I'm not gonna go into it because there's technically like a spoiler aspect to that whole thing, but I was basically talking about how the reason why Chloe has not yet had a redemption arc is because her issues have not been fixed. And what I mean by that is that Chloe's whole thing, I think, is like validation and like love and stuff that her mother has never given her. And like, that's why she acts so mean, is that she's trying to impress her mom. Like, it's all about proving that she is good enough to someone, but what if somebody else comes in and loves her unconditionally regardless? regardless, right? And that's where we get with Zoe, and if you know the spoiler, you'll understand, but I'm just gonna leave it there. And so that's my whole theory about that. And so everybody has like a core switch like deep inside that makes them like get akumatized. Not necessarily even just negative emotions, like there's a core reason why like people feel like their problems are not going to be solved unless they take Hawkmoth's power. Like that's what it is, really. Like it's not just you're feeling mad one day, it's you're feeling so hopeless that you cannot fix the problem yourself. That is what gets you like susceptible to Hawkmoth and everything. So I think that that's kind of interesting how they explained it right here. And so Marinette's like, I had to, and she's like, I know, and I'm here to help you. And so this was obviously like really, really sweet to know that like Alya's not holding a grudge, she's not being a fangirl, like Alya's acting completely normal, and I think that's great. And so they see like Mr. Pigeon, he's been akumatized 71 times, and after this episode it's 72, but it's sort of implied that he will not be akumatized again. I promised him to protect him from Shadow Moth. I can't do it, right? So she's saying, like, I can't do it. I can't stop it from happening again. I really like this from Laz because she's like, I don't understand. Like, and he says, neither does Master Fu. He succeeded by taking his time and rest. And so I really, really like that. Just because Alya says something kind of similar later, like when you are trying to do something, right? When you're stubbornly trying to figure something out, the easiest thing to do sometimes is walk away and come back later. Like, I can't tell you guys how many times I've been doing like a homework question and I've been frustrated and the answer is just like so obvious, but then I walk away, like I take a break and then I come back and like something just like clicks. Like sometimes our brains are just like our worst enemy and we just need to take a break, you know what I mean? And so I feel like that that was a really good lesson for this episode, and Alya helping was obviously a very good lesson as well. Can we talk about Marinette's outfit really quick? Like this is kind of off topic, I guess, but like this episode was just so funny, and this is what I mean, right? Like just these little like visual gags as well. Her scientist outfit, but it's just her pajamas, and I just love it. Yeah, so can we talk about Marinette's parents? Because I feel like that they are going to get akumatized, and I don't know when, I don't know how, but I feel like that the whole thing this season was Luca got akumatized because of Marinette's secrets. Alya and the girls got akumatized because of Marinette's secrets. Like, I feel like that the parents are next up because they have noticed that something has been fishy this entire time. You know what I mean? Like, this entire season, they've been like something's not right. So I feel like that they are next, and they will actually get like a combination villain. You know what I mean? Like instead of akumatizing back into Were-Dad and then whatever Marinette's mom was going to be in terms of like the villain and the powers in that episode where Marinette almost got akumatized. Yeah, it says she would have been Verity Queen, so that would kind of be interesting to see actually, just because like we never got that far. But I do think that they're going to like be akumatized together into like one being. I love this just because like all the Kwamis before was Tiki, but now it's like, psst, Alya, help us, right? Like, I just really love that about this episode. So Alya's like, how long have you been at it, right? Because maybe this is like the day after she told her, you know, like it's been like she's been doing this basically since the beginning of season 4, right? Because like she was looking at the pages and everything. And so it actually seems like that they're on holiday too, which I didn't notice, but that actually kind of makes sense, right? Because like, okay, so in this episode, obviously, like they say that it's holiday. In last episode, it didn't seem like they were going to school, like they went to the pool and everything. In Truth and Lies, it does seem like they were going to the school just because Luca like picked Marinette up from school on the bike, and then Adrienne got picked up in the car. And so it seems like that maybe Gang of Secrets in this episode up into a certain point are summer vacation episodes, or like just break, like we don't know. And we don't know if it's summer per se, but like it, you know, something like that. 6, 7 days, maybe 10, it's the holidays, right? And so Marinette's just basically been doing this like her entire summer holiday, and even before that, right? Because we do see them at the school and everything. I'm going all out. And so then Alya's looking over and seeing that Marinette's sewing equipment has just been kind of discarded, like in favor of this like akumatization board and everything, right? When was the last time you worked on your creations? I keep creating this so nobody enters my room, right? And so I think that this is also a foreshadowing to the end of this episode, like the fact that Marinette, like even before she was Ladybug, right? maybe the reason why she's perfect to be Ladybug is because she already had that creation spirit. You know what I mean? Like, she already had a passion for designing and creating and making things. And so what's interesting is that this power has been within her all along, but now she sort of like put everything else to the side to only create as, like, you know, Ladybug or as the Guardian, I guess. I think it's more so as the Guardian. Like, I think that there's like 3 tiers. There's the Marinette stuff, which is on the floor, obviously. Then there's creating as the Guardian, and that is what Marinette is trying to do right now as Ladybug. But I think the whole point at the end of the episode is you were so focused on trying to be the Guardian that you didn't think about what you could do yourself as Ladybug, right? I think that that's the whole point. And so, right, like, everything like, oh, this so nobody enters my room when I'm not here, like, that is about being the Guardian, not about being Ladybug or Marinette. Same thing with the hat, right? And so I feel like that all of this is very important because it's illustrating the fact that, oh yeah, I've been creating things, but like Guardian related things, not Marinette related things, and not Ladybug related things either. It's only at the end of this episode she realizes her value in creation, like, as Ladybug. I love how Alya just says that she's losing it. This is what I mean by this episode had like great comedic beats, right? When I'm looking for something stubbornly, this is where I get stuck. Now, you need to take a break, right? And so again, I think that that's great advice. I really like how they were able to incorporate that message in the episode. Again, I think it's a good message. They're doing really well with the themes and stuff, because what I was concerned about with the memory erasure and why I didn't think it was going to happen was because it would have sent a bad message to the audience, right? Like, oh, like, you know, if Bunix comes in and undoes everything, what kind of message does that send about you being able to trust your friends with your problems? Like, I did the whole thing, right, in that video. And so I feel like that we're getting into some really good messages, that Alya will always be here for Marinette, right? That she's not being a fangirl, she's not taking advantage of the fact that she knows Ladybug personally now. None of that, like, she's just helping her selflessly, giving good advice about, like, when to take a break, which I think a lot of us need. Like, a lot of us need that as adults, but especially, again, like, you know, what the demographic is, like, for the show intentionally. Just a lot of good messages overall being sent. And so Marinette's whole thing is, how can I take a break when, like, Shadow Moth is still doing the thing? You know what I mean? And so Alya says, I understand, but do you know what my grandmother says? And see, that I understand is important, right? Because it's like, Marinette, I understand you, your feelings are valid. However, think about it this way, right? And so it's like validating Marinette's feelings. It's not being like, oh, well, that's irrational, that's silly, right? It's like, no, like, I understand how you feel. However, think of things this way. And I think that's also a very good idea as well. Like, a good way to send a message too is like, you know, you should tell your friends, like, I hear you, I see you, your feelings are valid. Like, you feel this way, I totally understand, I totally get it, and I'm not trying to invalidate your feelings. However, I'm trying to give you something, like, from a different point of view in order to help you, like, work through your feelings instead of dismissing them. Like, I think that that's really good. You know what my grandmother says? Let's not wait for the storm to pass. But I think it's supposed to be, but let's dance in the rain, right? Like, you know what I mean? Like, the translation was kind of, like, iffy, but I think she's basically saying, like, you know, don't wait for the storm to pass, like, go out there and dance in the rain instead, right? And so I think that that's really nice, and they go back to that at the end of the episode, obviously with the scene with Adrienne, and I thought that this was just nice. Like, it was really, really cool. So Alya sees the photo of Adrienne, and she's like, you must not know about it, but Adrienne and Kagami are no longer together. And I'm like, but how did you know that, sis? So what I'm kind of thinking about is, what if we do have, like, an Adrienne and Nino thing? Because I have an Adrienne and Nino theory video, and hopefully I'll be able to get it out. Like, I'm sure that Soul Crusher isn't gonna invalidate it, so I'm pretty sure that things will be okay. But, like, how did you hear this, right? Because none of them are friends with Kagami. Unless they posted about it on social media, that doesn't really make any sense. So what I'm thinking is that the only person that could have told Alya is Nino, and Nino must have heard it from Adrienne. And so I'm like, I wonder if we're getting close to that, like, Nino and Adrienne bonding episode that I have my theory about, that hopefully I'll put out this week sometime. But yeah, what? Are you serious? Part of what made this episode so funny, again, I keep using that word, but you guys saw how much I enjoyed it, right? Is that it subverts expectations. Like, you expect, maybe, I don't know, but, like, you expect Marinette to be like, oh my god, like, this is my chance, right? But instead, she doesn't say that at all. You may think, oh, well, Alya's gonna make Marinette be like, oh, like, Adrienne's single, I wonder if I have a chance. Like, you think that that's what it's gonna be. It's gonna be about Adrienne, but instead it's, I have to go and console Kagami, and that's what out of order just on TV and you know that Marinette is in love with Adrien, you may be like, oh, well, yeah, she's obviously, you know, gonna go and like seize the chance, right? Seize the opportunity. But no, instead she goes and consoles Kagami, which I think is great. And I'm just like, yes, we don't pit women against each other. Instead, like, you know what I mean? We are supportive of each other, even if we like the same guy. And I think that that was just really, really great. Like, I just love, again, the messages. Yes, let's do it. She must be devastated. So the person translating put it a lot of the time, and I wonder, I think this was in French, so I wonder if like the pronoun like is sort of like referential to the last sentence, and that's why they keep putting it instead of she. You know what I mean? Because like as a French viewer, you would have known like the context that she's talking about Kagami, right? And so that was a little bit confusing, but I'm just gonna assume that she's saying she must be devastated. Isn't it Adrien you should be consoling? Why? She's just like, why? Like, why does Adrien need to be consoled? What is he upset about, right? And so that's kind of interesting though, that she doesn't think that Adrien would be sad, or at least like Kagami's sadness takes like precedent over Adrien. You know, gals before pals. The house, the three children, the hamster, doesn't remind you of anything, right? So Alya is like, shouldn't you be like, you know, giving Adrien a shoulder to cry on and be like a rebound? That's basically what she's suggesting, right? We won't end up together. I can hardly talk to him. Besides, I don't have no more feelings for Adrien. So I think she's trying to say, like, I don't have feelings for Adrien anymore anyway, so, you know, don't worry about it. Like, that's what she's trying to say. I'm not in love anymore. That's it. Obviously, she's just pretending, right? Kagami's perfect for him. She can talk to him, and they do fencing. She must be so sad. Are you kidding me? I love this. I love this. Alya is like, what is happening? Because I think that Alya skipped a few chapters. Like, you know those TikToks where, like, somebody's telling a story and the comments are all like, I think we skipped a few chapters, bestie, right? Or like a whole novel. Like, I feel like Alya's like, when did we care about Kagami? I wasn't here for that, and I love that. It's so great. In Paris, Kagami has no other friend except me. Only I can console her. And Alya's like, okay, well, go console Kagami then. As long as you're out there thinking about something else, I'm fine with that. And so I thought that was just so cute. I will sort through these notes and make sense of them. Oh, would you do that for me? You're not alone anymore, you know? And so I'm just like, like this is where everything is just so cute and so nice, and I'm here to help you, and it's just like perfect. They're just like so like wholesome and cute, and like this is exactly how it should go. I really like this scene with her parents giving her like a whole basket of pastries, right? And so they asked if she was done the presentation, so I'm assuming that they think that this is like homework or something. Like this is like summer school homework that they need to do before they get back in class or something, because if it's not summer, it's probably just like March break or spring break or something, you know, like one of those holidays where it's just a week off and then you got to go back to school. Like it's probably something like that where she would still like feasibly have homework, you know what I mean? But I really love the croissant in her mouth, and there's just like a scene here where she's looking outside and the sun is like blinding, right? Because like she's making this like, the sunlight, because she hasn't been outside in so long. That's what I imagine. And then we have Tiki eating a little piece of the croissant, and it was just really cute. I love this because Marinette just calls her up like, where are you? And Kagami's like, I don't know, like I'm just in the garden, like, okay. Don't move, I'm coming. This is not the right time. I will always be there for you. And this is what I mean by the humor so on point in this episode. Like Marinette literally tackled her with like, you know, pastries in hand, and I just think that that's so funny. And then she sees mom and she's like, oh, would you like a bun? And so mother, you remember Marinette, right? Look at how Marinette's just like, yo, I remember your friend very clearly. You're so original, friend. So I feel like original is supposed to be like quirky or like weird, you know what I mean? Like you're quirky, you're very unique friend, right? Like she's basically like kind of shading her a little bit. I'll bring her back to you in an hour. Taste the bun filled with fresh fruit. You'll love it. I love how Kagami's mom though just kind of was like, oh, okay. Like she just kind of went with it. Like I have no idea what I would imagine, because she's really strict. So I'm really surprised she was just like, oh, okay. Like maybe she knows that Adrien and Kagami broke up and maybe she's being a little bit more lenient. But if this was Gabriel, I feel like he would be like, where do you think you're going? Like you're not going anywhere, Adrien. I think she actually does taste a bun, and maybe that's why she's just like, oh, well, you know, the bun tastes good, so I guess it's fine. Adrien is at the pool for a commercial. You will make up, do you know his calendar? And so I thought that this was, again, funny, like, just her pushing her, like, this episode was just very comedically written, and I'm just here for it, and, like, very anime overall, over the next 3 years. Today, I am helping you to get back together, and so look at this, like, cute little innocent face, it was just so adorable. I don't want to make up. I left him, and what are you talking about, right? And so she's basically saying, I broke up with him. I don't want to get back together, right? That's why I broke up with him in the first place, right? You must think that you are not up to it. You are wrong, right? So she's like, what are you talking about? Like, you must think that, like, you know what I mean? She's like, why would anybody break up with Adrien? You must think that you're not up to getting back together, but you're wrong. You are strong. You are perfect. Look at how encouraging Marinette is. Like, this is great. Like, you know what I mean? Oh, maybe it's so is he. So it's basically saying you're strong, you're perfect, so is he, as in so is Adrien, because that little line usually indicates that somebody else is speaking or interrupting. So you could either have that Marinette is basically saying, like, you're both strong and perfect, like, you are and so is Adrien, right? Like, that's one. She could be saying, well, oh yeah, like, Adrien wasn't up for it either, right? You know, he's the one who didn't think he was up for it, but I think that's actually Marinette talking. She's trying to express how perfect they are. You have to be together. I feel like she's basically saying, like, you know, when somebody's out of sight, out of mind, it's easy, but when you see each other, you'll, like, feel all the feelings again. Like, that's what she's basically saying here. You will blush, you will stammer, and then she gets, like, the notification from her phone. And so I love this. Like, again, this was just peak comedy. Like, this episode was just so great. And so she's like, excuse me, hello? And then Kagami's on the phone. I just love this episode so much. I don't want to be with Adrien anymore. I was very disappointed in him, right? So she's just telling her straight up, right? It has nothing to do with me, right? Like, it's Adrien's fault, right? And so she's just like, what? Right? I feel like that she's just like, I don't understand. And so I feel like that if they would have talked about this, like, that kind of would have been interesting if they went into why that she was disappointed with him. But she's like, trust me, you are up to the task. Maybe he is up to the task. She is up to the task. I'm not entirely sure what this meant. Yeah, so then we get them explaining the whole pigeon thing for this episode. I don't think that that's really important. They're doing the photo shoot. It's supposed to be like a whole thing. They're gonna edit Adrien jumping off the Eiffel Tower, and so it's just like the pool is just there for safety. I get like they're gonna green screen it out or whatever. And so yeah, it's about like the new perfume. He's gonna jump off of Paris and fly and make a splash into apple juice, they said. I'm pretty sure it's probably gonna be wine. I think that they said apple juice, but I could see it like wine for being Paris, and then it's like, it's gonna be like Adrien, perfume, make a splash, woo. Like, that's basically the whole thing. But yeah, and so I really love Marinette's diversion plan because she's like using Adrien's fans against him, and they just like sneak it. And so Gabriel says, we have the magic Paris and the eternal, but the romantic Paris is missing. And so that's what I don't quite understand. Like, you know what I mean? Like, what is the magic? You know, I guess maybe the Eternals, like the Eiffel Tower and stuff, and the magic is sort of like the splash in the wall. I don't know, but anyway. But the romantic Paris is missing. Now, this makes me think that this is actually going to go into another episode where Gabriel actually uses the shot with Marinette, like, bumping into Adrien and them both falling together, because that's like the like, you could say that that's like the romantic Paris, right? Is imagine both of them falling from the Eiffel Tower into the into the wine or the apple juice or whatever they're trying to call it, and then being like, make a splash, like, you know, like having a girl is like the romantic aspect, right? And you could even say like, oh yeah, like girls will chase after you if you wear this perfume because Marinette just comes out of nowhere, right? And so I feel like that maybe we'll actually get like a scene in a future episode where Marinette actually ends up in the commercial. Because obviously, like, the whole romantic thing is, oh, I know what he needs, a rose, but, like, that didn't end up happening, right? So I think that he will, like, use the shot with Marinette. Yeah, so Marinette's pool bag has a bunch of stuff in it for a disguise, right? And so I feel like that this is, like, the bag that she brings. It's not just her pool bag, is in her bathing suits in there, right? Like, there's a bunch of stuff, you know, just in case, you never know, right? And so it's like her disguise bag, and so you can really see how how the Marinette parts of the personality intersect with the Ladybug parts. And like, I'm not one of those people that think that Ladybug and Marinette are like, you know, different alter ego. Like, I don't think necessarily that way, but I just mean like, in terms of this, like, think about this, like the camouflage outfit. Like, you always need to be prepared to have a disguise. Like, that's a very superhero thing in civilian form. And that's what I really like. Do you always take all this with you? Of course, I must. Finally, you must always be ready to cross paths with Adrien, right? And there was a tennis racket, there was the umbrella, which I really like because that's kind of like, it's not necessarily the same, but it's a little bit of like Chekhov's gun. You know, like they put the umbrella, that the umbrella was in the bag, and it's the same umbrella that Adrien gave her, and that appears at the end of the episode. Like, that was just really, really good. Everything is foldable, even this ball gown, and I'm just like, we need to see the ball gown, sis. Like, is this a dress we've seen before? Because I don't think it is, and I would love to see somebody draw, like, Marinette in this outfit, because we have the bodice, and then we have the waist. Like, you know, just make something up for the skirt, and we're good to go. Like, I need to see it. I need to see Princess Marinette. Please and thank you. But now that I said princess, I'm kind of a little worried because what if, oh my god, guys, imagine, okay, so what if, like, Marinette gets transformed into, like, Princess Justice, like, for real this time, and, like, this is, like, the outfit, but it's, like, inverted or something, like, you know what I mean? Like, it's, like, in this dress, like, that would be crazy. Or what if they're already at the ball or at the school dance, and she gets akumatized while wearing the dress, and that's why she becomes Princess Justice, you know what I mean? Because she'll literally be all dressed up as a princess, and then the dress changes, and it's, like, evil and bad, like, you know what I mean? What if it's like foreshadowing? It could also be maybe an Easter egg for like the new movie, because I heard a rumor that in the Miraculous movie there's gonna be a school dance, and so maybe like the dress is kind of an Easter egg for that, even though it hasn't come out yet. I don't know, I'm just saying. I bet you're already falling in love again. No, you didn't, because you haven't seen it in action, right? And so that's a confusing part, is that again, like some of these pronouns are making the dialogue a little confusing, but I think that Kagami is basically saying like, no, you didn't, like you bet wrong, right? Like, you know what I mean? Like, Marinette's like, I bet that you're feeling this way, and she's like, no, I'm not. Like, you bet incorrectly, sis. Because you haven't seen him in action. I feel like that's what that means. Like, oh, well, you haven't seen Adrien yet, so let's fix that first. And so Marinette's like, look how cute he is. Don't you feel your heartbeat? Did you get chills? And Kagami's like, no, I feel especially bad for the trainer. And so she's just like, I don't feel anything. I just feel bad for Mr. Pigeon. It is because your eyes did not meet. You gotta look each other in the eye, right? And so she just keeps adding conditions. And so this time, Marinette just carries Kagami over. Like, what are you doing? No, your eyes must meet. We have to get closer, right? And so she's not even looking, right? And then Adrien's just like, what am I saying? Like, am I seeing things? Am I okay? Like, look at the look on his face. He's just like, what? And so it's important, though, that he saw Kagami and Marinette, because I feel like that maybe even though later he's like, Marinette, what are you doing here, right? Like, he probably won't think like, oh, that's strange, like Marinette was here all alone, you know what I mean? Like, he'll probably recognize that Kagami was here and like what they were doing. Like, as dense as Adrien is, like they literally, like the car is outside too, like Kagami's car is outside later as well. And so I feel like it won't be like, oh, Marinette is weird and like stalked me here. Like, he'll realize that if Kagami was with her, what she was trying to do and like how good of a friend Marinette is, right? And so she's like, he looks at you, look at him, right? Like, and so she does not look at him. Oh, but I love their friendship so much, and I love like the contrasting swimwear too. Like, I just love everything about this. And so Marinette's like, did you feel anything yet? No, I only felt embarrassment for me, Adrien, in this embarrassing situation, right? And so Kagami's just like, this is just not it, sis. Like, do you do this on the regular? Like, how do you not lie awake at night thinking about all the embarrassing things you've ever done, Marinette? Like, that's the vibe I'm getting from Kagami right now. So Marinette's like, wait, like, let me try one more thing. When we are close, you feel the attraction better. I have an idea, right? And so this is where things get crazy. And she's even like, oh yeah, stop, it's getting crazy. Love is crazy. And so maybe that's another reason why, like, Kagami is, I don't want to say unsuccessful, but also the fact, like, that she is not crazy. And I know that that sounds weird, but like, she will not go like above and beyond, I guess, right? Like, I feel like that Marinette, like, some people think that the show goes too far. I think it's just exaggerated for, like, comedic effect sometimes. You know what I mean? Like, I think that it's just exaggerated because it's like, oh, it's anime. Like, you're not supposed to be like, oh, well, Marinette does that, so I should do that in real life. Like, no, you're not supposed to think that way, but I think the point is more that, like, Marinette has, like, an amount of dedication and commitment that Kagami doesn't necessarily, like, feel. Like, she doesn't need to go to Adrienne's house with a boombox and, like, you know, try to, like, win back his love. Like, she was just perfectly fine letting the relationship end. You know what I mean? And so I feel like that Kagami needs someone that she does feel crazy about, and maybe Adrienne wasn't that person, or at least he's not anymore because she realizes how they're incompatible. Yeah, so I feel like that maybe Gabriel will actually, like, use the commercial, like, of this shop, because, like, look at them. They're, like, so it's like, you know, somebody bumps into you and you fall in love in Paris, I guess, question mark? Like, you know what I mean? Like, I think that that's what they would go for, like, the commercial aspect of all this, but Adrienne's just like, Marinette, what are you doing here? And so, yeah, I guess he didn't see Kagami, but I'm sure he would be able to piece it together. And so she's like, I came to surprise you. Well, to relax. What about you? We are shooting a commercial. The pool was supposed to be closed. And I wonder if this is the pool that she comes with Cat Noir, because I think that that's really cute if Marinette was like, to the pool, and, like, this is the same pool that they always, like, swim together at, I guess. And, like, now, like, Adrienne and Marinette are here, right? Because that was in Gang of Secrets, wasn't it? And so I think that that's, like, actually, like, really cute. So I thought that this scene was really interesting because he's like, oh yeah, the advertisement turned into a fiasco, but I'm convinced that we will be able to get some good out of it, my love, right? So he's talking to Emily there, right? And so I think that that's an interesting aspect, is that they're reminding the viewers, like, why Gabriel is doing this, that it's for his wife. Like, basically, I think it's confirmed at this point, based on how he talks to the painting, that he is doing this, like, for his comatose wife. So Marinette's like, no, I realized my mistake. We need to recreate the moment you fell in love. And that's very interesting because isn't that what happens at the end of this episode? So that kind of line is a little bit of foreshadowing, because what happens at the end of this episode? The umbrella scene, part 2, electric boogaloo, right? Basically. And so I thought that that was just so great, is that they incorporated that, like, oh, I know, like, let's recreate the moment you two fell in love. But what is recreated at the end of this episode? The moment, right? And so it reinforces Marinette's feelings, but I think that Adrienne may be falling for Marinette, and so we'll talk about that. So this is what made this episode really interesting to me, and it probably also made some people very mad, just because, like, a lot of people are like, oh, Cat Noir always gets shafted, the show doesn't show him as important, and so I'm sure that there are people angry that, like, oh, see, well, in this episode it proved that Ladybug doesn't need Cat Noir, blah, 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 blah. Cat Noir is just the representative of Plague, ultimately, and Plague helped. So I think that it's fine. Like, I think that it's okay. Like, it's gonna be okay, guys. Anyway, we could talk about the whole Cat Noir thing another day. I just know that there's gonna be people upset. Yeah, so I think that this is interesting just because you could make the argument of, like, oh, well, you know, why doesn't Marinette think, oh, like, you know, Cat Noir is a pigeon, and I just saw Adrienne turn into a pigeon, but you also have to realize that the entire city is pretty much pigeons right now, and so just because Adrienne, like, got transformed right in front of her and Plague is here, it wouldn't necessarily mean that, like, oh, well, Adrienne just got transformed and Plague is telling me that Cat Noir is transformed. Like, no, like, that doesn't really, like, match up, because if you look at the city, like, everyone is a pigeon. The reporters are pigeons, like Chloe's dad is even a pigeon. Like, the whole city is basically being taken over, and so at this point, there's, like, suspension of disbelief, and also, like, Ladybug's not going to be like, well, in this life or death situation where I may lose my Miraculous by turning into a bird, I should really consider whether or not Adrienne could be Cat. No, like, we don't have time for that, right? So, like, that's another thing that always bothers me, is, like, yes, there are times that should definitely be obvious to both Adrienne and Marinette, but I feel like this time is not, like, one of those times to complain about, in my opinion, because, like, everyone is being turned into a bird. Like, it's just a coincidence, or maybe she's like, oh, what if Kagami's Cat Noir? That'd be so funny. Anyway, but no, that would make a funny TikTok. You guys could have that one. like Marinette at the end, like, Like, that was so weird that, like, Cat Noir was turned into a pigeon, and I saw 2 people get turned into pigeons. Kagami? That would make a very good TikTok. Anyway, that's all I think about, guys, is how to make good TikTok videos now. Anyway, you won't escape through such a small hole. So basically, we see how the drill's used later. It's used to make a hole small enough for a Plag to get through with Mr. Pigeon's akumatized object, but not so much like that the bird can get through, which I thought was really cool. And I love this part of the episode because this was so creative and amazing, right? And so Alya figured it out. She's like, oh, the answer was right in front of me, right? And so then she gets the call and she sees the birds, and like, I love how all the Kwamis are just hanging out. But like, Bunx is again, or I guess Bunx is not the name of the, anyway, you guys know what I mean. The bunny Kwami is like, it's the end of the world. Like, we've already had the end of the world, sis, and Furious Fit, like, this one's always saying it's the end of the world, right? Mr. Pigeon is back and he turns people into pop, right? And so obviously, like, the whole city's getting targeted, you know what I mean? And so I'm stuck at the pool, I'm on my way. No, it's too dangerous to go out. Black Cat has been turned into a pigeon, so Cat Noir, obviously. What do? Ladybug and Cat Noir must bring me Mr. Pigeon. And so she's like, understood, I got it. And what I love about this, okay, there's so many things to love in this scene, but what I love is that Alya knows the password to the box, that like Marinette trusted her so much to give her the password to the box. And I hope that that doesn't backfire in the future, because like, I guess it could, like if Alya got akumatized, right? But like, I don't think that she will. I don't think that she'll get akumatized. I hope not, because she could literally bring like the whole box to Hawkmoth, and that would probably not be great, right? Ladybug needs us, but I'm happy that she trusted her enough. I hope it doesn't go badly later. What I love though is that Alya, like, she's basically writing fan fiction. Like, she knows these two so well that she's like, okay, well, what would Cat Noir say? I know. What would Marinette say? Yes, right? Like, what would Ladybug say? Like, I just love how she, like, basically embodies them and how we see her movement and her acting. Like, Alya, you're so talented, sweetie. I love it. I couldn't have said it better myself. Good work. And I love this. Like, this is basically Alya's fan fiction, right? She's just like, oh, well, what would Cat Noir say? We have no choice, milady, right? We have to jump into the water, right? And so I just love it, right? And so, yeah, this was like the other thing that was so cool, is that they take off their Miraculouses and it's just some random people, because, and I'm just like, that's so smart. Like, that was so smart to use some random people. I'm a little worried that Alya like left the house to come and tell her this, but maybe it's an illusion too. That would kind of be funny if she made an illusion, because I don't know if they hug or something. Maybe they do, but she just left the box all by itself. Anyway, I mean, I guess Hawkmoth's done for the day, you know? Like, he already akumatized someone, it may be safe, right? You are a keeper. Like, you're the guardian, but you forgot that you are Ladybug, right? So this scene was a little bit confusing. I think that basically what she's saying is like, no, there's nothing. Like, there's not a collection of rules and solutions, just what the Guardian found out, like just what the Guardian discovered. But the Guardian has never also been a holder before, right? And so I think that basically the point is that it means with my creative power, you have to create. You alone set the limit. So it's like the Guardian didn't like list a bunch of rules for the Miraculous or like a bunch of solutions because he didn't know. He just knew what the last holder that he recorded had done. And so Marinette needs to use her powers as Ladybug to basically manifest it. Like, she basically writes the rules. So I think even though the translation is confusing, that is Alya's point. The Guardian didn't write anything about this because it's not up to him. He just records what he has seen other people do. You alone set the limits for yourself. So let's see what you can do now using your power as Ladybug. And I think that that's really nice. Like, it's nice that, you know, they put an emphasis on like Marinette's like inner power, right? And so we see the transformation for the first time, right? How she's like surprised at herself. And so we see all of the new additions to her costume. And then she pulls out the first anti-akumatization charm. What did you do? And what is it, right? And so I think like she also says like, oh, like what's the costume, like, oh, in a new costume. That's what I saw somewhere else, is that she's also talking about like, oh, what did you do? And like, what's this? Like her new outfit, right? It's a magical charm. And so I think that basically she made like almost a talisman almost to protect him, right? It will protect you from negative emotions. Shadow Moth will never be able to akumatize me, and so I think that somebody is gonna like throw one of these away, probably, you know what I mean? Like, I'm sure that somebody's gonna like chuck it into a river if they don't want it and everything, but yeah, I think that this is really good. This is definitely like a step forward. Did you hear that, my friends? We will never again be the villains of Paris, right? And so like they finally get their freedom, and I think that that's just so cute, and so hopefully, right, it'll actually work, you know, like hopefully we'll find out if they actually work, or what happens if you don't have it on you, or like could you get rid of it, like I don't know, like it's kind of interesting, and I just really love how Alya was the one that helped her discover like the true power like within herself. Like I think it was really good to prove that A, telling Alya was a good thing actually, right, and then B, like the power was inside of Marinette all along, she just needed to believe in herself, and that's what Alya helped her do. It's just such a good message, and I love this. This girl is truly miraculous, and Adrienne's just like, oh, so in love. So Kagami says, you know, the beating heart, the tingling, I felt all of this at your place. So I think basically what she's saying is, I felt all of this from you. Like, I think that's what she's trying to say there. You're the one who blushes and stutters when you see Adrien. You know his schedule over 3 years. You're right, Adrien is perfect for you. And so I loved that. Like, I just really loved that line, right? And I think that it's nice that Kagami seems to be also supportive of their relationship too. So I'm like, gals supporting gals. Like, you know, like Marinette consult Kagami because they're friends, but Kagami is also like, you know, supporting Marinette because they're friends, and it's just so great, and I love it, right? It's just she's like, oh, Kagami, right? But Kagami's just like, I won't hear another word. Like, I won't let you say no. Like, I won't take no for the answer. I'm driving away. And so I love that. And so yeah, it's kind of unclear whether or not Adrien like realized that Kagami was there the entire time. I feel like he would have, because like her car was outside, and like Marinette's literally like, Kagami, right? Like, I'm sure you would hear that, right? But yeah, as either way, this is a great scene. Have you kept it all this time? And so this is them recreating the scene when they fell in love, and so I'm like, it's happening. But the other way, Marinette, are you coming this way? Do you remember that? You entangled it for me. Loaned it. It was crying, raining, so she's still stuttering a little. Anyway, I can take it from you now. Oh, give it back, right? So she's basically saying, yeah, you loaned it to me. You know, it was raining, remember? Now I can give it back to you. You'll need it to get home, right? That's not wrong. And so I just love them. Look at how nice they are. And so obviously Adrien has to, you know, go home. If not, we can drop you off, right? And so I think that the whole point was like, you know, if you don't need the umbrella, like, we can always give you a ride. And so I'm a little confused still why Marinette didn't take the ride home. Like, that's the only thing that I don't understand, because I thought, like, he offered still, even if they weren't gonna walk together, right? And so I really like this, though, that they both get stuck under the umbrella. That was so cute. Look at them laughing together. But content, oh, this was just so great. Since we have an umbrella, we could walk home. What do you say? And so, like, Adrien seems to be like, yeah, like, he seems to be going to agree, but then he sees that, like, his father wouldn't like that. I have my Chinese class, you know my father, he's demanding, right? And so this adds on. I'm actually glad I didn't make the Adrien video, because this adds on to my Adrien theory that, like, Adrien is going to open up to Nino or someone else about, like, all the burdens that his father puts on him, and how, like, lonely he is, and how demanding his father has become, and how he just wants to be, like, a normal kid. And that's why in Guilt Trip, right, we have, like, Nino being like, I can't help my best friend stand up for his father. And so I don't know if it'll be an identity reveal, but I do have a theory that Adrien will be like, Nino, like, the true mask is the Adrien I have to wear because of my father, but deep inside I feel like this, like, less of a Cat Noir identity reveal and more of an Adrien reveal. I have a theory about that. But yeah, anyway, see you at school, of course. See you tomorrow, Adrien. And so, like, look at him, he's so cute. But here is where people think that he's starting to fall for Marinette, and that could be a thing this season, right? Is that, look at him, he's getting into the car, but he's the clumsy one, right? He bumps his head on the door. Has he ever done that before? I don't remember Adrien being clumsy in front of Marinette. Maybe Ladybug, but not Marinette. And so see, he's being clumsy around her because he's looking at her. And so I'm like, guys, it's happening. I think that this could be the season where something is happening. I don't know. It's so, like, look at her. She's just, like, laughing, and he's laughing. And it's so cute. And he gets into the car, and, like, they have a little wave, and it's just so nice. And I'm just like, guys, the ship is sailing. They are made for each other. See, and they were both clumsy around each other, right? They were both, like, you know, not stammering, but like like her whole thing of like, yeah, you're the one who stammers, you're the one who's clumsy around Adrienne, Adrienne's clumsy around Marinette, so, you know, even Kagami can see it, right? How are you doing? Everything is fine, Tiki. Let's not wait for the storm to pass, but let's dance in the rain. And so see, like everything is starting to let up for Marinette now. Like her friends have been able to help her. She had a nice moment with Adrienne. She's doing well as Ladybug. Like everything is just working out and I'm very happy for her and I love this episode and it was nice. I hope that you guys enjoyed my discussion and my analysis. Comment down below what you guys would like to see me do. Again, I do have some theories, but with like 5 episodes coming out this week, like I just need to get through it, you know what I'm saying? And so I am going to be focusing on like these like videos, right? The reaction and the discussion portion. But if you guys have some theories or things that you want me to talk about, I want to do the Adrienne video so bad. I hope that it doesn't get corrected tomorrow, but it shouldn't. Like Soul Crusher is about Zoe and Chloe, right? So I feel like that we're still pretty good. Like I feel like that we're good in terms of like that coming true or not coming true. Like I don't think that there's been any evidence to say that an Adrienne and Nino episode is coming up in the ones that are releasing this week. So I think I'll be okay. I hope that you guys enjoyed it and I will see you in the next one. Have a miraculous day, guys. Bye.